Today we're taking a look at every single board game campaign, finishing up this week, and maybe, just maybe, we'll figure out what the damn hell Spiritfire really is. I don't have much faith, though. I don't think we're going to figure it out. But you know what I am going to figure out? I'm going to figure out how to thank my newest patrons for jumping on board Room and Board. Carlos, Chad, and Billy, thank you so much for jumping on board, supporting the channel. You are all fantastic, phenomenal people. You are the best people in your life. I'm sorry to tell you this. Get main character syndrome because you got it. All right? You are the thing that the sun revolves around. That's true. It's you. It's always been you. Thanks for supporting the channel. As always, thanks everybody for supporting, liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. And let's get into the week. Starting off with The Witcher Path of Destiny. Yes, I said I would take a look at this. This is finishing up Tuesday. I waited until the very last second, not because I was procrastinating this and can't get my life together, but because I wanted to check out all the stretch goals. That's the real reason. So let's look at what this game is all about. Look at all the stretch goals that we've gotten. 42 stretch goals, including Skellig, Grain of Truth, Golden Dragon, The Last Wish. So these are new paths, right? New stories, new little story snippets. Again, I feel like if you're interested in this game, and you get new characters as well. So you get new characters with 2 different abilities that you could just try later on. I wasn't as impressed with the variability and replayability of these different stories as I was hoping to be, because it's really just, hey, how many sets did you collect of this one? Go to this page. And the slight rule changes that they outlined weren't that significant to me. Anyway, you just plop down a person and you get these 2 cards, and then you can play cards in your hand and you want to match symbols. That's essentially the game that they're charging quite a lot for. But I am going to be interested in seeing what this expansion and the add-ons and the stretch goals were. That being said, if you get the standard pledge, $55 US, I don't know why this is in euro for me. Wow, look at those numbers go up. $5 million Canadian this is raised, and I think 4 million of that is people who just enjoy the Witcher theme. I know a lot of people on the 5 Reasons You Shouldn't Back said, hey, I love The Witcher, I love the story, I want to read little pieces of story. Well, the game just does nothing for me. Direct quote. And from every single comment, and I get it. The shipping here, though, for me, is $22. So this is a $100 tableau building game. And I just think that I don't believe it's innovative. You know, I just don't. I wanted it to be innovative. I feel like I have slight regret of missing out on the great deal that was The Witcher Old World. And some people have been enjoying it, but I don't know how much I would have particularly really enjoyed it, just looking back on it. And this, I think I would enjoy even less. I have tableau builders, I have card builders. The things that get me excited are not the things that they're being put forward. So like this, for example, the edge of the world. You'll find yourself terrorized in a village, and it's all this huge theme of unravel a hidden truth that exceeds mere folklore as you shape the narrative through your strategic choices. Like that sounds so exciting, right? That sounds so exciting. And then it's, what's this gameplay twist? It's a unique twist on the gameplay. Extra effort cards. Okay, more cards. I love more cards. A subtle shift in mechanics introduces the extra effort card. Revealed each chapter. Fulfill specific conditions, like playing 2 blue, green, and red cards consecutively to obtain corresponding effects. So it's just like a variable objective. And not that there's anything wrong with a variable objective. I think that's great in games when you have these other little things to work for. But it's being put forward and packaged as this like innovative, super amazing, exciting thing when you boil it down mechanically, it's really minor. And that's kind of how I feel about this whole game, is that like mechanically, it's really, really light. In 5 Reasons, I talked about reviving Kathmandu as an alternative, although I think the deluxe might have actually been fairly expensive as well. But it's a really fun game that I own and I'm not getting rid of. I talked about King Domino, which you can get for like $20 at retail. I think definitely if you are interested in this game, though, the stretch goals will pay for themselves. For sure, right? And I think that's why they're doing so well. It's because you know that later on, if you want to get these expansions, they're going to cost you probably more than the shipping. I think flat out, if you are really interested in this game, then yes, get it now because the stretch goals will more than make up for what you get the shipping cost. That's always my calculation. I can 100% say that this is a good deal if you are interested in it, and not a good deal in terms of like the full package, but a good deal in like stretch goals to shipping ratio. Let me be clear about that. But like this hand management aspect of laying cards in a tableau and drafting those cards, it seems like it'll be a fine, fun game, but it's not a $100 game. That's my point. And you got to factor that in when you're paying for the shipping. And also, I think the card drafting is pretty much flawed in terms of that if good cards just come out in the first spot, then you just get the good cards and you just get to go again. And the fact that there is that like glaring mechanic oversight makes me really not that interested in seeing what happens with the little storybook. And the fact that they're trying to sell you so many just like a Ronin, a standalone game based on Path of Destiny. You know what this is? It means nothing is different mechanically. They've just slapped on a few different skins and given a few different powers and framed it in a different storybook. And then they're saying, listen, don't you want this thing as well? And people are always afraid of missing out that one version will be better than the other, when really it's just like thematically. You just have Ronin Geralt. Again, the sculpts are amazing. And yes, Yennefer could teach me things that I've never known before. And yes, I would be happy to be that skull that Yuki Onna is just brutalizing there. And the art is beautiful, but when it comes down to it, it's the same game. They say Ronin is so much more than an aesthetic change. The core of the game itself works differently, focusing players' attention on the characters' relationships. In Ronin, players not only try to select and play the best cards possible, so the same game, but will also cooperate with each of the neighboring players to achieve the best possible common bonuses, so you have a shared track with the person next to you. That's it. It's not like this drastic shift. I can't emphasize it enough, how not drastic these things are, and these changes are. Definitely looks cool, but again, they're selling you on the game itself, and the feeling, and the art, and the world. And while that all helps, for me, that helps complement a game, it's not enough if the game, it doesn't tickle my little fingers, you know? If my fingers aren't feeling that itch, I'm not going to play those cards. But if that interests you, that finishes up Tuesday, and for sure there will be late pledges, so I wouldn't really worry about it too much. This is another smashing success from Goonboard, and I'm very happy for them. So if you're interested, that finishes on Tuesday, November 7th at 4 p.m. Let's move along to the Great Tea Robbery, an immersive mystery adventure, history's most lucrative thief, or nothing but an elaborate hoax? Maybe. This looks like another murder mystery escape room game, but let's look at it briefly just to see what it's all about, because it's raised $100,000, so that's pretty good. I'm sorry, $204? Jeez. No, thank you. I mean, it looks like you get a bunch of really gorgeous, cool stuff, but this isn't just a game. It's an adventure. It's an invitation to travel. Yeah, does it come with a plane ticket? Sure, you might call it an escape game in a box. Yeah, I would. A tabletop treasure hunt or an investigative game, but I like to call it a mystery adventure. Well, you'll detect messages, you'll feel the tea leaves and do some sorting, you'll examine the colors of different brewed tea, you'll savor a cup of tea. That seems fun, right? Like, there's clearly going to be a puzzle in the tea leaves, and if there isn't, I would lose it. I would be so mad if that didn't happen. There was somebody who said on the recent deathmatch, they said, oh, actually, I gotta get the quote because it was so funny. And if you're out there, yes, I am mocking you. It really sucks how never in these lists do detective deduction games even get a mention. Are people that lazy to use their brains and hence don't like detective games like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective? If you're not a lazy, idiot, dumb baby, then I suppose you'll have to back the mystery adventure The Great Tea Robbery, which is not an escape room. in a box. It's a mystery adventure. Anyway, let's move on to this one, if it's going to be good at all. There's nothing here except Molly House and Spirit Fire. I'm pretty sure there's going to be nothing. And I'm also terrified for the weeks that are to come because so much is coming out. So yes, we are going to look at Dungeons and Naggins because it's raised $30,000. So something might be here. You wake up in a dungeon with a hangover and a note. That's how it starts. Embark on this epic Irish quest with your drinking buddies. Roll high to survive encounters. So it's really going to just be flipping up maybe funny cards and rolling dice. Look, but they seem excited about it. No real rules, but there's got a how to play video here. Let's look to see if it's anything more than just flip over a card and roll the dice and drink if you lose. I bet it's not, but we'll see. Drink for a 20, drink for a 1, and drink whenever you like. Print and play is €10. €10? Oh. 15 Canadian. The game is 26 or 39 Canadian. No, I'm sorry. Like, it looks fine. It looks fine if you have never played D&D and you want to flip over cards and roll dice and just do stat checks for the whole time. So that's what it is. But I guess that's what D&D is, really. But you actually have a creative storytelling that I don't know how much this will really encourage people to creatively tell stories other than just roll dice. You know? It doesn't really seem like this is driving that storytelling or driving that necessarily that comedy, but I do like that you get items, at least when you kill people, and then you can use those items, so you feel like you at least have some agency of when to use those things or not. So, not horrible, just not $39. And do you even have shipping on this website? Yeah, okay. €6 to Ireland, UK, France, Germany, 20, 30 to, yeah, like, if you're in the US and Canada, well, this is not for you. If you're in Ireland, I don't know if this is for you either, to be honest. But if you don't have any board games at all, then this might be for you. So that might be it. Maybe it's that. Maybe that's the trick. If you're interested in that, well, that finishes Thursday, November 9th at 2:52 a.m. Moving along to Fall of Lumen. The Keepers are back to overthrow Lumen. Your lumens or your life. A deck building and area movement tabletop game set in the lands of Legends of the Void. The Void? No, the Twoid! Legends of the Void, which was on Kickstarter May 7, 2021. So I probably just missed it. That seems very similar. Alright, let's check it out. Okay, so are you co-op or competitive? I don't know. Well, Lumen is bad. That's what I've learned. And this actually seems hopefully fun. It's a deck builder, which of course I like, but the exciting part about it, and this is part of my favorite elements of deck builders, this is why I love Attack on Titan so much, is that there's a board with multiple markets. Multiple, as they say. Tell me if you know what that reference is from. But you can purchase those cards from these different markets, and having to move to the different markets is always exciting to me because you have to balance movement and flexibility over just straight deck building. In addition, there's a little tableau. You get a unique faction and a unique character at the beginning, and you can hire followers and buy little trinkets, which I always want trinkets. Each card in your hand has two options. You can play it for its effect, or discard it to gain its skills. I see its skills are probably down here. I don't see what the difference of those two things are, but that's what rulebooks are for. And look at that, rulebooks right at the top, €59, okay. So that's 87 Canadian. Again, it's going to be expensive for me, but we'll see. I could get it for 52.5. Click here to download the rulebook. Yes. Close to the top of the page. Well, okay, it's a third of the way down. But still, there's mechanics, components. I really like this campaign page because there's no garbage in it. Just straight to the point currently. Honestly, though, you could very well have just exploded this up and zoomed in to make people think you had so much. But I think this still looks like you have a lot. So that's, I don't know what the better marketing angle is, but I know which one I like the best and which one I'm going to try to support and champion. I think it's competitive, but I still don't know. Oh, and then at the end, you're going to be infiltrating Lumen and taking it down from the inside. Whoever Lumen is, doesn't matter. The evil people who just happen to be synonymous with light. This is another one. It's played over 6 rounds, and you start with 7 cards in your deck. So maybe closer to something like Lost Ruins of Arnak in terms of the flow and the access to your cards rather than something larger like Dominion. Larger being like a physical larger deck. You're limited to one main action on your turn. Before that, you can perform any number of flash actions. Then there's a Lumen phase, resolve the top event of the Lumen deck. Lumen moves, refreshes markets, adds hammer patrols to some reason, but very similar to Hammer Bros, I'm sure. And then you see which hero contributed the most to the fall of Lumen. One main action. So you can gather, you can acquire, you can solve a challenge, you can infiltrate an agent, play a card, capture a patrol, buy a ride, and pass. But remember, if you do add cards to your hand, you get to play them on your turn, right? So that's important. This feels very Lost Ruins of Arnak to me. Just even with this Lumen's Eye, this card has no effect. However, you can discard it to gain 1 deception, right? Okay, so it's actually the top left that you can discard things to get. That feels a bit unintuitive, but that's what it is. And then a flash action. This action does not count as the main action of the turn. You can perform any number of flash actions before your main action of the turn. Discarding a card to gain its skills is an instant action. It is faster than a flash action. You can do it in the middle of your main action, during the income phase, or during a setup. The same is true for exhausting a follower and trinket to gain their skills. Okay. Is that tied to the effect? Do I need to see a lightning bolt beside the card? That's what I want to know. Do any of these cards have lightning bolts? Yes, right over here you can see that lightning bolt flash action. So some of the cards will give you bonus actions. That's basically it. Each region has a unique gather action. Okay, that makes sense. You can trade to get more stuff. Acquire, so each region gives you access to a specific market. Yep, love that. Solve a challenge. You have to pay a certain amount of stuff. When solved, you gain whatever that thing in the corner is, which is rescue 1 keeper from the prison, and you want keeper points to win. Yeah, each challenge site has a first level challenge, and a second level, and a third level. And then you can put an inner world in Lumen, so you've like scoped it out. If you like Lost Ruins of Arnak, you should check this one out. I think that's the moral of this story, because I'm just getting, like, in terms of the flow, right? In terms of the flow of the game, I feel a lot of Lost Ruins in here. Play a card. You can perform a no flash action as the main action of your turn. Feels so slow. Capture a patrol, but I'm sure it's not, right? Like, a lot of these games feel really slow, and then you play them and you're like, oh, I'm actually accomplishing a lot in my turns. What did they say was the approximate time to play? 90 to 180 minutes. Yeah. Only 6 rounds for that. Our approach to crowdfunding. We don't have stretch goals. We don't have the time to build them in, because stretch goals are always made up anyway. And no retail versus deluxe version. That makes sense because it's a small company, so they're not going to have a retail version. It'll be this version. Pre-stretch campaign, and they're just like, hey, think about all of the friggin' stuff we have. We could have stretched this out, but we didn't. Wooden elements are already upgraded. Overall, the box weighs 3 kilograms. Wow. Yeah, there's no plan for retail. I think that's really well set out. What's the shipping? Shipping, USA €19, Germany 15, so anywhere 21 to 19 euro. So for me, it's 80 euro, which is like $110. It looks cool. Honestly, it does look quite cool. I feel there's going to be a lot of simplicity here, and with the amount of cards and the amount of factions and different stuff that's in there, seems quite nice. 110 is a lot. 110 is a lot. Everything is a lot. Oh, cool. Yeah, in the last few years, we've enjoyed playing Viscounts of the West Kingdom, Clank, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and Arkham Horror LCG. These games have influenced us in the making of Fall of Lumen. Yeah, we love playing cards and moving on a map. I do too. I think it looks cool. That's a tough one. I think worth taking a look at for sure. It looks cool. That finishes Thursday, November 9th at 1:13 p.m. I don't know why I clicked on this. Come on. Le Neckbeard, Quest for Love. I saw a Q&A with Tom Vassell, and he was like, it's the weirdest thing. The internet insults are so weird. People call me Neckbeard all the time. I'm like, yeah, that's where beards grow. He's like, that's where my beard is. Or something along those lines. He's like, I don't see that's why an insult. It's just pointing out where my beard is. I don't know. You had to be there. This isn't. I don't know why someone would ever make a game that like promotes toxic, disgusting behavior against women and embodies like nerds as these hideous predators instead of the lovable creatures that we are. Screw you, Jason Anarchy. I'm not even looking at your campaign. We're moving along to my favorite things and the String Railway collection. 3 innovative Japanese games in 2 boxes on 1 Kickstarter. 2 boxes, 1 Kickstarter. I've seen that film once or twice. It is not good. That reminds me of a joke that I was trying to cram in here. Something about communion and 2 priests, 1 cup, which I have not seen the movie of, but I have seen the stage play. It's the best I can do. I'm sorry. I have to stop this. I have to stop it. Because clearly there are 2 things that happened, and maybe we can hear. I'm going to play it again from legendary designer, and then we're going to hear the voice change.
Rail network is String Railway from legendary designer Hisashi Hayashi.
And I just love that clearly the person who they paid to do the voiceover just completely butchered Hisashi Hayashi's name, and I just think that's so funny. Or they just were like, you know what, I'm not doing that. Someone else can fill it in. And then they clearly got somebody who could actually pronounce the name to say it, and then overdubbed it in what is now my favorite thing on this Kickstarter video about my favorite things and the String Railway collection. Honestly, both of those look really good, though. I'm very excited about this. Let's talk about £25, £30, £47. Yeah, but 43 Canadian. 60 for me after shipping. However, plus back both, and we'll ship the second one for free because it's in one package and the shipping would have cost the same anyway. Yeah, maybe that. Maybe that. My favorite things actually looks really funny, though. My favorite things is an innovative trick-taking party game for 3 to 6 players. The game has 2 phases. In the first, you'll compose a list of your top 5 things in a category given to you by somebody else, and then you write them down. And then on the second, you'll play tricks using another player's cards, trying to deduce the value of the cards as you go. I would write down all of my categories, and you would have that in your hand. And if you can figure out what thing I ranked the highest, then you know what you can play, and you can play cards to kind of take things out. So there are so many games about ranking things in party game style, right? Like, oh really, or I know what you ranked last summer, or Inspector Rebus. That's a series by the author Ian Rankin. I don't even know if I've ever read any of his books or know his name before at all. So it's a really deep cut. It's a deep cut even for me that I don't understand. Anyway, once you've ranked your cards, then you actually get to play a trick-taking game with them and suss it out and actually use those in a creative and interesting way. And it just takes that idea to the gamified level. And that's just really, really exciting to me. You have number 5 up to number 1, and then you have the heartbreak card, which is the thing that you hate. You also throw in something that you hate in there. And you want to make them obscure so that the people don't know what they're playing. I'm sorry, how is Monday a weather? You screwed these colors up. Weather Monday, days of the week, summer breeze. Well, yeah. Anyway, that seems very fun. Let's look at the String Railway collection. It's 2 games in 1 box. One game is String Railway, and one game is String Railway Cubed. String Railway Cubed is one where a map is all set out, and String Railway is one where you're creating a map of your strings, and you don't want to overlap strings. So you're strategically positioning your tiles and strings in this outline, trying to get the most points. See, look, you got 3 points, but you lost a point for crossing somebody, but you got another point for touching another building based upon its unique scoring condition. Seems very fun. I want to look at the full rules. Let's do it. But it seems pretty simple. Oh, cool. I'm already glad that I looked at the full rules, because your border changes depending upon who you're playing with or how many people you're playing with. And you can play it 2 players, you're just playing 2 different colors. I want to see how these cubes move in the cubed version. So let's check that out for a second. I like this too. Irregular shapes are possible, but may result in strange games. Yeah. So on your turn, you have a number of action points, and that's shown on your engine card. But on your first turn, you have a total of 3 action points. But at any point, you can also take a bonus action. Ooh. If the place string connects to any stops that were not already connected to another string, okay, so if it's a new thing, you randomly draw a place 3 cargo cubes. Okay, so anytime you touch a string, one of these, you'll load it up with cubes. Okay, and if you move a cube onto a depot matching the color of the cargo cube, you take that cube, place it into your supply. And that's what scores you points at the end of the game. Okay, so everybody can go around and move cubes, and you're trying to move the cubes in the most efficient manner as possible. And you can only use your strings to transport the cube, so you can't use somebody else's strings to transport it, so you'll have to go next to them. Seems fun as well. String Railway is £30, so 51 Canadian. Both of these just, they seem too expensive for being such small boxes. If these were like, this is $43 Canadian for 36 cards with sleeves. That feels too expensive for what it is. Even though I think the concept for both of these are really good, it just feels too expensive. Cheap it up. Yeah, they're not giving you magic savings here. It's just that they're both small games, and most of the shipping is the local shipping, which you're paying for, and it costs basically the same. They're saving you like $2 to $3. Let's be real. £5, $10, 15 Canadian to ship. So to get it, it's like 60. I do really appreciate that the shipping is in the local currency. That's very nice. Way to go. But it's just really expensive. Still, if you got cash to burn, I think both of these look very fun and nice, unique games. And I like unique games. So check it out. The finish is Thursday, November 9th at 5 p.m. Moving along to Burn the Witch.
Burn the Witch!
Paranoia and pyromania fuel this social deduction game of burn or be burned. It's like they wrote that copy just for me for 5 to 15 players. 15 players is a sizable number. Usually you go to 10 or 12, but no, 15 is good. Kind of looks like Werewolf. I mean, most social deduction games look like Werewolf, to be fair. You do get an original musical composition, though, so that's kind of fun. Burn the Witch blends many of these exciting features from other social deduction games while improving upon the less desirable ones. Yes. No player elimination. Yes. No moderator. Great. No private missions. I don't mind private missions. No night phases. Everyone enjoys nonstop action and experiences every nail-biting, heart-pounding moment. For the cost of a bundle of wood and a gallon of gas. You know what? That makes me not be mad that it's $9 for a print and play. You also get a full soundtrack with it, so I feel like that's added value versus other print and plays. Nice. These stretch goals also feel like they're actually putting the money back into the game. Burn the Witch divides players into two factions, Zealots and Sympathizers. Depending upon the number of players, games last between 45 to 75 minutes and conclude when every witch in the village has been uncovered and the Zealots win, or enough innocents have been wrongly condemned that the witch hunt is called off and the Sympathizers win. They're like, listen, there are no witches here. Stop killing everyone. It's like, no, but maybe just one more. Maybe just one more. They're like, stop it. You're not finding them. In Burn the Witch, players represent houses consisting of 2 to 4 villagers. Okay, each villager has a corresponding identity card tucked away beneath it. Face down, players who receive one or more witch identity cards will make up the Sympathizer faction. Why not just call it the Witch faction? Oh, okay, Sympathizers know which players are aligned with their factions, but don't know which villagers are witches. So every identity card that turns up is a surprise to everyone. Okay, so everybody's Oberon. I don't know what this means when they call out a trait. Play begins when one player, acting as the accuser, calls out a trait shared by several other villages. So I guess these things, okay, that's what they are. Every person's character has a bunch of different traits, and you say, the Ravens! But you can't vote against anybody of your own house. I do like this little voting box, right, of just putting save and burn. Okay, so it's very Secret Hitler in terms of there's 2 people who hold all the power for 1 vote. Some person will select the people, and then the executioner gets to choose which of those people dies. Yeah, I think that could be okay. I think it's weird that you have a bunch of villagers, but I guess that's because people are killing you. I'm not completely sold on it, to be honest. I think with a bunch of people having different villagers feels a bit weird, but willing to give it a try. I just think 29 US means it's 40 Canadian plus shipping. This asymmetrical power is also not worth the extra price to me. Oh, that's cool. Fire and Ash made their own little wooden things. These wooden boxes and stuff are really well made. Fire and Ash, they had a booth at the World Series of Board Gaming, and Renee was really, really impressed and intrigued by them. She's like, I love this stuff. It looks so cool. And I said, do you know how expensive that is? And she said, I don't care. You're always talking about price. Just support this business. Give them a shout out. And I said, okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know if they're going to make it on Crowdfunding Countdown, but we'll see if they do. They're 19 days to go. They also have a Kickstarter going on, Fire and Ash. Their stuff's really cool, but I mean, I'm way too cheap for it. The etching is gorgeous, but it's like $100. No. Anyway, this one is also going to be 60 for me for a social deduction game. I don't think it proves itself in a way that it stands out enough over every other social deduction game that also costs cheaper. But if you're interested in that finishes Thursday, November 9th at 7 p.m. Moving along, just quickly, to the Red Dragon Inn Allies, Melvyn vs. Marah. 2 new characters join the party in the classic tavern game. I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype about Red Red Cathedral? No, Red Dragon Inn. It's just a big old drinking game. Maybe because I don't care about drinking games. It just seems so random, and the fact that there are new characters doesn't matter because it's such a basic game anyway that I don't see the fun in it. But if you like Red Dragon Inn, let me know. Red Dragon Inn is basically you just want to drink your friends under the table. That's pretty much it. But if you like Red Dragon Inn, well, this is your announcement that there more characters exist for it. Let's move over to something that I'm quite excited about because I've heard people be really excited about it, and I see a wig and a mask, and I get excited. What can I say? I'm a simple person. I hear the words queer joy and betrayal in 18th century London, and I get excited. And then I see John Company, and I want to run for the friggin' hills. So let's take a look at it. Let's see what Molly House is all about. And I'm hyped for no reason. Well, $60. Yeah, okay, great. That's a reason to get hyped. Let's keep the hype going. Throw grand masquerades and cruise back alleys as a gender-defying Molly in early 18th century London. Yeah, baby. In this interactive history game from debut designer Joe Kelly and veteran designer Cole Worley, you must evade the moralistic constables who seek to destroy your community within the Molly House. Each copy includes 100 playing cards because some people just hate other people. That's just what it comes down to. Some people are like, yo, you're not doing anything that harms me whatsoever. I hate you. That's what people it's good that we've grown out of that, you know? It's good that we've really grown out of, like, pushing our own sort of morals on people. People who aren't out there murdering and doing anything that's harmful to anyone else. But they're hurting themselves because I know what's best. Because I'm the main character. No, I'm sorry. The main characters are Billy, Carlos, and Chad. We've already established that. If that's not you, then you're not the main character of Planet Earth. I'm sorry. Get rid of your main character syndrome and just bow down to Billy, Chad, and Carlos. Largely classical styled wooden and resin playing pieces. Yeah, look at those little skirts there. My issue with John Company, well, I have many issues with John Company. They shifted their focus to institutional history. Like, the idea that games can be a commentary on history is very exciting to me. However, I think John Company really misses the mark, and you don't feel horrible about the decisions that you make while you're bankrupting your own company and colonizing India. You don't. You just say, haha, I'm winning and I screw you too. And it's not a fun time. I think John Company fails in its effort. So now they're taking their efforts to social history. I hope this succeeds. But I thought, here's the thing though, like, I bet I would have been excited about John Company, like, reading through the rulebook, and before playing it, I was really excited about it. I thought the theme was cool. I thought the ideas were cool. I thought the framing was really cool, and it just missed the mark for me so monumentally. Like, I had such a bad time playing that game, and I'm really worried about Molly House because of that. But I really like that this is a game about queer history, and I think that's really cool. Molly House is also a game about policing. Here, the primary policing actors are not the city officials, but instead a citizen group, the Society for the Reformation of Manners, which sought to weaponize the legal apparatus of the city in order to destroy a community it perceived as a threat. Jeez, like, people friggin' suck, you know? Critically, this goal could not have been accomplished without intimidation and the eventual compliance of a handful of informers drawn from the ranks of the house's patrons. Lastly, Molly House is a game about practice of history itself. So much of queer history has been lost, hidden, suppressed, or outright destroyed. But the story of Molly Houses of the 18th century was protected in the most unexpected of places. As witnesses were pulled before the authorities in London, they gave their testimony, and their accounts were preserved in the proceedings of the Old Bailey, London's central criminal court. Despite the awful circumstances of their conveyance, these stories present illuminating first-hand accounts that are a tribute to their tremendous courage, playfulness, and defiance of their community. Molly House is an effort to reconstruct that community in a game. We have done our best to build a world from these accounts that will hopefully give you a small sense of the remarkable community they built. If you want to read more about the game's arguments and design history, please check out the Molly House Designer Diaries on Board Game Geek. Yeah, definitely will. But let's look at the gameplay, because that's what's going to really, really matter. Because if it's awful, then it'll just fade into obscurity again. All right, Molly House is a deep, interactive, historical game bedecked in a fancy party dress. Over the course of a game, players draft hands of vice cards representing the different gestures, desires, and encounters that were frowned upon by the Society for the Reformation of Manners. It sucks, because that's such a good name. You know what I mean? That's such a good name for a society. Like, I get it. I get how they got probably so many people onto their side. It's a really good name. The Society for the Reformation of Manners. It's the best name for a group of posh villains that you've ever heard. I've ever heard, that's for sure. You wish they were called the Society of the Repressed Tiddlywinks, you know what I mean? The Society of Closed-Minded Troglodytes doesn't have as great of a ring to it. The society of, yeah, fops are okay when they're on stage or when I do it, but when you do it, it's bad. That just it doesn't roll as trippingly off the tongue. These cards allow players to host festivities with the help of their fellow Mollies and create joy. Create something else, I bet. But those same cards can also lead players to be arrested and might contribute to the ultimate ruin of the Molly House. I'm worried about this. This sounds like John Company. Parties begin when a player plays a Molly card at Mother Claps, sorry. Also fantastic name. This card sets a collective goal which the table must meet in order for the party to be successful. So it's going to be a set of rules for your trick-taking. I can get on board with this. I like trick-taking. Cole Worley has really been experimenting with trick-taking a lot recently, especially with arcs, which is another kind of way for trick-taking. So if you're going the trick-taking route, and less the John Company route, I'm interested. A player's desires are also the greatest liabilities. Over the course of the game, constables will patrol the streets and attempt to corner the players. When a constable is revealed, the players will have to reveal one or more cards of that constable's suit in order to escape persecution. Players will either have to renounce that desire or may take on a number of guilt tokens, which will lower their final score. These moments may offer arrested players a critical temptation. Through the intimidation and coercion of the constable, players may elect to become informers. No, don't do that. This will set them against the other players and require them to destroy the Molly House in order to win the game. Ugh. Informers must desperately try to undermine the community around Mother Clap's historic Molly House without being discovered by their fellow Mollies. I just love that this constable, I love this scene. Show me your highest pentacles. I swear I have none. I only found this yesterday. You wouldn't want this little thing. However, unlike traditional hidden role games, Molly House does not rely on overt dishonesty or predetermined cast of characters. The game does not require players to become an informer, and players may discover that every player or none has switched sides by the end of the game. Together, Molly House offers players a novel twist on traditional secret role games where a player's identity is as fluid as the cards in their hand. That's a great sentence. This 1 to 5 player game brims with the opportunities for collaboration and coercion that bear the design hallmarks of a whirligig game, but in a way that is approachable and easily playable within an hour or two. Okay, no 5-hour John Company. Solo mode designed by Ricky Royale. That's good. Where's the rule book? Yes, okay, thank goodness. Thank goodness it's in the Learn More section. We were getting to the shipping. Shipping. Click here for shipping rates. 404. That's very frustrating. That's very, very frustrating because I don't know what the shipping is. Oh, that makes me so mad. That makes me want to turn informer. Okay, read the rulebook. Let's get it. I hate that anybody can just become an informer. I would feel like I would hate myself. I would really, really hate myself. And I would be a narc on anything else. But like in this game, I feel like I would just hate myself to do it. So I don't know why, but I know that there would be a strategic reason to probably do it. And hey, I guess that's a nice, interesting thing that a very developed theme can bring about. I do like this variable end condition though. If the house is raided and the game ends and players who are not informers are eliminated from the game, if the house is open, informers will be eliminated. So you really have to hedge your bets in terms of what you're moving towards. You see all these beautiful components, huh? Yeah, quite nice. A lovely cloth bag and more. You're really not getting a lot of like physical pieces in this though, are you? Player setup. Each player draws a guilt token, so that's going to be what's going to change your faction. If it's an informer, you may return to the bag and draw another. This process may repeat until you choose to stop. Okay, so you can keep on doing it and be like, listen, I'm not an informer, I'm not an informer. Oh, I do like that, though. It makes me want to be an informer right away. I take back everything I ever said about not being an informer. I am an informer. No, I can't do it. Yuck. I honestly think that, like, wouldn't be able to engage with this in a way that, like, I would want to engage with it, because, like, I absolutely love being bad and being like on the evil side and lying to people in games. I think it's very fun, and yet in this particular instance, I really couldn't, because the society for bad manners is just awful. Molly House is a game about joy, so joy your victory points. You can talk, you can say anything, but you can never disclose the cards in your hands outside of actions which require you reveal cards. Yeah. Molly House uses a deck of vice cards. There are 4 categories: desires, mollies, festivities, and constables. Desires are your standard, and this little star value is the joy value. Mollies and festivities are used for throwing parties, and basically they'll determine the rules of the trick-taking. And then constables never enter player hands. When players reveal or draw them, they're immediately resolved, ending the active player's turn. So you're like, I'm going to get the little nice tasty desire. Oh no, that's a friggin' weird constable with 2 heads and no butt. No wonder you can't get any joy. So constables, everybody has to reveal a card. You have to reveal your highest card. So holding on to a high card is a dangerous thing, because the constables might get you. Or you can take a guilt token representing the emotional toll of the encounter, including trauma, compromises, and outright bribes. You got to take 1 guilt token for each card in your play area, though. So, like, for sure, you can know that somebody's probably an informer. So being an informer has a few important gameplay implications. First, you can be dishonest. When a constable is revealed, you're never required to reveal cards. Interesting. But if you're keeping track of that around the table, that's exciting. And then you want the house to be rated. And then so there's kind of like player elimination. During the game, players may have the opportunity to accuse you. If you're found out, you will lose any cards in your hand and in your reputation. You will still spend the rest of the game as a known informer. You still play the game, but you can only participate in the festivity if the festivity runner consents. At the end of your turn, you may accuse any player who's in your space. Okay, so the flow of the game is you can move around the board being up here, and take actions depending upon which location you're at. Some of the locations will have constables on them, and you continue doing that until 3 of the 4 suits have had 2 constables resolved. So 2 constables pop up through the deck of cards and have been revealed. Then the sort of the round ends. Or everybody says, we're going to go home. We don't want the constables to catch us. Let's just go home. I see John Company vibes in here, though. I don't know about this one. Yeah, so for this festivity, like, you're only going to get invited to participate if it's going to be against your own win conditions. So if you're a known informer, you're basically out, which I'm not sure I like. You also get just a random half of your hand at the end of each round. So that feels pretty random, too. So you have 4 total rounds, or when the house closes. Okay, no. So if you're a known informer, you can take these actions. So you can still run around and do actions and try to draw constables to arrest other people, basically is what you're doing. So you're going to St. Andrew's Church, or no, you're going to the cruising ground and just discarding your whole hand and hoping that you draw more constables. $60 shipping is, I don't know, so I'm going to assume 30. So I'm going to assume this is a $120 Canadian game for me, right? Because that's what I'm just going to assume. That's usually what it is. And this is a tough one. Come on, get me back to the main page. Thank you. Don't get John Company. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is a tough one. Like, I love the theme, love the idea of it, love that element to it. I really, really love the informer flipping back and forth. I'm on board with it mechanically. I think that's exciting, although I think becoming a known informer won't be that exciting, but then just don't get caught. I think that'll really depend upon the balance and the breakdown of the amount of tokens that are in the bag to make it interesting. I don't know. The problem with these sort of semi-co-op games, and it is kind of a semi-co-op, right? Well, I guess it's not. You want to get the most points. You want to get the most points no matter what. But with things that can eliminate players from contention is that if you all jump on that side and just pile into one player, it can be not great for that player. So that's a consideration to think about. It feels very push your luck in terms of will these things come about. I don't know if I believe the 45 to 90 minutes, but I guess it depends upon how quickly you play, how quickly you cycle through the cards. There's a couple of things in here that kind of like lit up as red flags for me personally. as somebody who really didn't like John Company, I see vestiges of John Company in here, and that scares me. That makes me think that this could be very frustrating and annoying, but the time length saves that a bit for me. There are print and play files for John Company that they're just giving away? That's pretty good. Respect. I like trick-taking games. I don't know. I'm really torn about this. I really don't know if I would enjoy the gameplay of it all that much. Love the theme, right? And I like the playing of the cards. It feels like it's a real push your luck game. I think that's it. I think if you're going to get in with the push your luck elements to it, and you want to push your luck and you want to feel guilty about all the joy you've been having because you're going to get those guilt tokens, you're pushing your luck on will the constables come up. You're pushing your luck on if you have the right cards to participate in festivities. Or if the constables will take those from you and make you guilty and turn you into an informer. You're pushing your luck that you're going to devote all of your energy into one avenue, saving the Molly house, and then be turned and be out of the game. Or you're pushing your luck every time you draw a guilt token. There's a lot of that elements to it. So just be aware, I think, of that going in. It doesn't seem trick-taking. I keep saying trick-taking because I see cards, but there really was no mention of tricks in here. There's a few tricks that the constables pull on you, but in this trick, you're actually just working together to score joy, but you score joy for the values that you've put in, right? I don't know. I was very excited about the theme. The theme definitely lands. The mechanics... Oh, that is a video there. Yeah, it's really just flavor. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I would enjoy this game personally. I think it would be fine, but I don't think it actually looks mechanically like my personal cup of tea. Or maybe I'm just an informer. I could just be an informer. That ends on November 10th at 6 p.m. if you're interested. We're moving along to One Last Score, the thrilling and competitive heist card game. Let's see if this is any good. By Good Gravy Media, the game you've heard so much about. This is why I'll never be that great at YouTube. It's because, like so many things, it's like, whoa, check out what this doctor has to say. It's the doctor who wrote it. The doctor wrote that. I can't get behind. I'll eventually get behind that level of self-promotion. This guy's got some wacky opinions. Have you heard about this game? You've heard so much about it. I'm going to make that statement so you think it's true. So you're going to continue playing heists. You're going to continue playing sets to get those heists. You can use cards for their abilities or for their heisting, but maybe not both. No shipping information here, so don't get it. Even though it looks okay, but it's also like $40 Canadian for a card game that should be $20, realistically. Maybe if you put the shipping information, I could talk about it whatsoever. Well, okay, let's see. Might be in here. I might have lied to you. There is. Okay, I always forget that it's here, but it's $21 shipping, so it's like $60 for this very small card game, which is not worth it. It's just not. Unfortunately, I wish it was. It seems fun, though. Definitely seems fun. You'll have your own little character, which I think gives you a permanent bonus towards your certain heists. Then you play other characters to get the heists, and then you steal cards from each other. Seems okay. Like, it is what it is. These little card games are always all right, but way too expensive for what it does. That finishes Monday, November 13th at 7:45 a.m. Moving along to Takenoko, Oyako Collector's Edition. It's all a Takenoko fan could want, packed in a single massive, beautiful wooden box. They had this collector's edition before, and now it's come back. These things are gigantic. These are so big, and it's $250 for a collector's version of Takenoko, and I understand people compatible with the Calyx. I understand if you love Takenoko. If it's your favorite game of all time, then this might be pretty fun. I understand playing with larger pieces will generally make a game more fun. However, Takenoko you can get for $60, and nobody in their right mind needs to ever get this ever. Unless it's your favorite game. If it's your favorite game, well, congratulations, Tyler's dad. You're probably going to get it. Or you already have it. I forget. Takenoko is a fun game. We talked about it just recently in the death match. I just don't see a world where you need a 13-centimeter sculpture of these pandas. But I also know it's super duper fun. So there you go. If you're interested in that, the finish is Tuesday, November 14th at 9 a.m., the day when all heck breaks loose. Well, there's a couple things coming out that day, right? Food Chain Magnate, Deceased, A lot of stuff are coming out that day. I think a couple other things. Anyway, let's move along to the thing that I've been dreading all day to look at. Spiritfire, an open-world living board game by the award-winning creators of Unsettle and Vindication, about garbly, goobly, deck-handleable, bodily, goobadle living board game, buzzwordy, unspecific. Let's see what it does. I don't even know why I'm watching this. I know it's not going to give enough information because I know they're not giving any information. But I just want to see what's being put forward. ONEB is also really good at hype. Their trailer for Unsettled was just a hype of a bunch of people saying lovely things about them, which, to be fair, is very good and is good marketing. And if those people are saying those things, that's great. And is something that I did for WSBG just recently that I spent a lot of time on and I'm super proud of. 20 seconds to get to the actual meat of this living card game. Atmosphere, atmosphere, atmosphere. Okay. I think I've actually gotten pretty good at this after doing it for 1,600 campaigns, that I can carve through the bullshit marketing and see what the game actually is. And I think I actually get a pretty good sense of what this game is going to be. Surprise, surprise, it's another campaign game. But the trick and the unique element to this, we'll see if I'm right as I continue and do more research, but this is my bet that I'm hedging right now in case I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. The unique part about this campaign game is that there is no campaign. You know that part in Seventh Continent where you take a wrong turn and you spend hours and hours in the frozen tundra, not realizing that that's locked for another curse down the line until you go out? Yeah, that's what Spiritfire is going to be. Spiritfire is wandering aimlessly amongst the land, rolling dice and activating cards and interacting with things until you die. And then until you physically, literally die, like you as a person. And then you reflect upon your life and you think, what did I do with my flame? And you realize, oh, I spent it all on this MMO of a board game. It's given me a bit of Mythwind vibes, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. I think this isn't the first living board game. I think Mythwind was the first living board game. It's a non-linear open-world board game system in which you explore unique fantasy realms on an introspective journey of discovery, wonder, and mystery. Your choices matter because you're not following a story. You are the story. Yeah, it's just a campaign game where there are pockets of things and you can use your imagination to link these weird things that happen together. You're still going to be progressing to something else. You're going to have this deck at the end that unlocks the final secret. That was part of the video. And so there is an end game. There is an end point. When you reach it, who knows? They're not going to tell you because they want you to Animal Cross the crap out of it and just live in it. There's no combat in Spiritfire. It's time to wield something more powerful than a sword. Your mind, your heart, and your spirit. So it's action efficiency. It's a survival game, right? It's using those things and trying to chain it together in a certain way. Which way? Who knows, because they don't have a rule book, but I'm going to take a look at that hour-long video and get back to you. Let's see what else the campaign gives us, though. So the first living board game rewards your time investment by being continually updated with compelling new content. No. A living board game is the same as a living card game, and how this is going to reward you is going to be similar to like a big old Warcraft thing. I don't know, I played Warcraft for like a minute. Almost a minute, like 10 minutes. I built my character when I got like a free trial, and they're like, here, have 100 levels. Now you can compete with everybody else who's on level 7,000. And there's just a bunch of different maps that you can run around and explore, and then they're going to release another map that you can then go and explore and see what sort of story element is there. And that's not a bad thing. Like, that's the definition of a game that I really liked playing as a kid and wished I had more books for. I had a whole book, a storybook, where I like read through passages and I went up to somewhere else, and then I reached the edge of the map and I couldn't go further because I didn't buy volume 4, which was above, and volume 6, which was that way, and volume 8, which was over there. You know, so it's not necessarily a horrible thing if you like the system and you're like, wow, I really want to explore the world. That's cool. The fact that they're saying, hey, don't worry, this is going to be a living board game, so you're never going to finish it. In fact, we're going to capitalize on your desire for as a collector on Kickstarter, so you know there's more stuff coming down the line. I'm not really that interested in, but, you know, what can you do? It's only going to be 99 bucks, though. I don't know. You can see my excitement in that. I would have expected 125. I would have expected 125, so 99? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, a solo journey you can play with your friends. Look at that. Much like an online MMO, you can make yours an entirely solo journey or progress your character by yourself in your free time, then jump into a realm alongside your friends on a game night. Each player will need their own character box to play. Yeah, so you have your own little character, whatever. Because you're just running around reading cards and chaining your cards together. That's all it's going to be. Spiritfire, a casual presentation. Oh, God, no. Spiritfire overview guide. That's 15 minutes, which I think it was a garbage thing. Why support? Yeah, it's a very specific quote from Alex. If you're like someone who plays solo and Euro optimization and card pushers, TCGs, CCGs, and the sense of those things, then maybe you might like this. They know their audience. Ah, the community journey. So stretch goals. Great. Okay, so $99 is for one character. Oh man. Ugh. So if you want to play it in a different way, they say you can play it with other people. They just need their own character box. Nah. It's a solo game. Okay, it's great. It's a solo game. Includes the Awakened Realms box. Oh no, an Awakening Realm. How much metaphysical quests full of surprises can you get in 10 cards? That's my question, right? Full of disciplines and arcane surprises. Like, whoa, this is going to be exciting. I get it. It's added value. It's a few extra cards. You're not going to notice. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. The partner pledge, 189. Disgusting. 2 of everything. You just have to buy everything. I do love seeing that the majority of people, almost 4,000 people, are going for core pledge, and only 239 people are insane. And only 42 people should be locked up. And only 35, well, they're retailers. Okay, you're fine. Only 35 people are doing their best to exist in this hard world of ours. Yeah, the goals and aspirations you pursue aren't associated with any specific place. The personal quests you choose to pursue will greatly define who you become and what connections you have in the world. Like, that seems fun, but it's just like, do this thing. Do this thing wherever you want. And if you do it, then you become a monk. This is the interesting thing to me. This is the thing that makes me interested. It says that there is no combat in Spiritfire. It's a substantive, emotionally driven experience with aspirations beyond the expected iterations on tactical combat and standard gameplay, because you're gonna fight your inner demons instead of the actual demons running around in the world. So that's also why it's supposed to be solo, because I imagine it's supposed to be this meditative process of rolling dice on yourself. So there's clearly going to be an emotional track that you can push and pull, that if your little discs are in a certain area, they get pulled one way, you're more fiery, you're more depressed, whatever. Encounters and quests add their own variables to create a literal infinite number of wildly different experiences. Is that how we're using literal? Because I bet there's a number. I bet it's a very large number, but I bet there's a number. Like, all of this is built and predicated upon the idea that we need 1,000 hours in every single game, which is ludicrous because you don't. Just look at Spider-Man 2, okay? They did it in like a 20-hour game, and I haven't played it, but Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales, that friggin' slapped because it was streamlined and specific. Enough with this a bajillion hours sort of thing. Finishing one character story doesn't mean your time with Spiritfire and your card collection is done. In fact, it may just be beginning. Okay, so it's like a roguelike experience as well, where you're going to be going through continually, going to different spots, unlocking different cards. That's what it is. And hey, yeah, a game built for solo is great because there's a lot of solo players out there. That's a real thing. The experience beyond mechanism. Okay. Well, because you haven't told me about any mechanisms yet. Anyway, so we're just going to really just push past them anyway. Let this be something new. Looking at a game's mechanics is a valuable method of assessing if something is right for us. But what else can we reference beyond that when considering experience, especially when a game's mechanics are unfamiliar? I mean, that's fair. We can look to the feeling the game instills, the motivations it satisfies, the aspect of self it touches, and the parts of our personality it invigorates. We can set aside our preconceived notions and tools of scrutiny. No, we can't. And we can dare to let ourselves experience something with fresh eyes because we deserve it. That's got to be the most bullshit couple of paragraphs that I have ever seen in my life. This is the most thing that is like antithetical to my own personal philosophy that I've ever read. And I think you can see why. I think maybe you could see why with my dripping of sarcasm. The whole point of looking into mechanics, yes, some mechanics might be different. So it's up to you to explain those mechanics and how they will interact and how it will be exciting for us, right? And you can say this is a whole new thing, it will give you a feeling of X and Y. But if you just say, listen, it's going to be a magical, beautiful new experience that nobody's ever done before, ever, buy it. Well, okay, but what is that experience? It's magical and new. Buy it. Okay, but I kind of want to know. It'll blow your little mind. It'll be the most orgasmic board gaming experience you've ever had in your entire life. Buy it. Yeah, no, but I kind of want like just anything about it. Well, it's an open world. There's an open world. Buy it because it's better. It's better. See, we're going to talk about some mechanics down below right now, but just know that anything you look at is different and wild than you've expected before, and it is the better version, and it is so much better than anything else that does this. Buy it. All right, well, you've convinced me. Opening packs is fun, but so is figuring out how to earn opening them. What's on the horizon? How did you get into that cave? Where did the druids make their camp? Pushing into the unknown is the first step towards answers. So, any game, yeah, buy it. An opportunity for challenge mastery. While casual approaches are effective and valid, if you're drawn to exerting power and prowess against a sharp foe or imposing puzzle, then you will find potent long-term satisfaction in the deeper layers of gameplay. Okay, so nothing. That's a nothing sentence. Thanks for a whole bowl of nothing oatmeal. Worlds and characters to get lost in. Each realm has a deeply developed history with its own myths, cultures, and creatures. Love it. Paired with the stories you found in your personal quest, your affection for the surprising tales and deep connections will be well served. It's good. Just trust us. It's going to be good. The story. Do you know that board games have very exciting stories? And do you know why this story is the best one? Because you can make up the parts and use your own empathy towards made-up creatures instead of us telling you that you like them. You can decide to like them. Buy it. No combat. Love this. There's more to life than stabby gold getting. Very funny. Perhaps it's time to approach the world and its challenges from a different angle and face tensions that come from something deeper. Yes, this is very exciting, but it's also a different sort of combat with your mind, you know? You're fighting your inner demons. Like it feels like if you're buying into this, you should also go and sign up for your nearest cult because it kind of seems to be the same thing. It's certainly offering you the same thing. You are the story. Buy it. Everyone who wants to play will need their own character box for just $99.99, but don't worry, realms are designed to be shared. Okay? Okay. Yeah, so here's the first thing that they're telling me something interesting. There's deck building card management. Sometimes you have to face things unexpectedly on the fly. Sometimes you know what to expect because you've done the research. Yeah, all of that sounds cool, but you don't have to layer it with this friggin' cult magic woo-woo feeling. Completing quests will open up new opportunities and possibilities. Of course they will, because it's an open world game and you're progressing through something. I think this game could probably be good, but just like the way it's being presented leaves such a foul taste in my mouth. I like that these card packs are resealable. That's exciting. So that when you've realized and you've broken yourself free from this hallucinogenic stupor, you can sell it to somebody else. That's what I've done with all of my Arbonne creams. Just filled them with Nivea and passed them down the line. No, just me. Maybe it's just me. Nice. An Awakening realm, so you really get to get in on that SEO. I do like this, though, the fact that you can customize your stuff because it doesn't matter because it's all cosmetic. And so you can give yourself your own sort of feeling, and that each character is going to have essentially the same sort of stuff, but that you can do it cosmetically. That seems very fun. What's our shipping? What's our guess for shipping? 35 to Canada? 20 to everybody else? Let's see. If actual shipping costs exceed our cost estimate, Orange Nebula will absorb any differences over 10%. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. I was going to say, I thought they were only going to absorb 10% of differences, and I was going to lose it. But it's not that one. Great. Bundle 1, estimated shipping, 19 to Asia, 42 to New Zealand, 31 to Australia, USA 25, Canada 40. Okay, so I was wrong. 140. Yeah, this is just a trash campaign page. It's just awful. It's all it is making you feel ethereal, and I don't understand how so many people have just jumped on board. I get it because they like Vindication and Unsettled. Vindication's a great game. I quite enjoy it. It's a lot lighter than I was expecting. I was expecting something really grand and grandiose because of the size of the box, and then it's like a next step up from Catan, in my opinion. But like a really fun one. I love combining the colors and moving around. Really enjoy Vindication. So that's kind of like a fun little thing that they're going to be doing as well. Like you're going to be having a little polyomino unlocking cards to put it into your deck. Why not say that on the page? Why? Why not? Oh, because it doesn't sound exciting enough. That's why. That's probably why. Okay, I'm gonna lose it with that one sentence. Your life force is a deck of cards, right? Like Seventh Continent, you go through when you're through, you're dead. On this one, your journey has ended and you've used all of your spark, which yeah is fun. In this, there's so much of a heavy influence on this sort of like meditation quality, which maybe that's something that you're looking for in an introspective solo game. Also, could be very valid. That there was the line of like, you can see at some point you'll have more spark behind you than you do ahead of you. It's like, yeah, it's just a deck of cards. But you can hear, and my point here is not to like bash upon, like I love meditation. I love, I'm an actor. I'm in the arts. It's fine. I love metaphors. This is how this campaign is being presented, right? Like this is the important thing that I want to be talking about when they're pushing forward this time for something new. Like I don't buy it. I don't buy it to this extent. I think that there might be a fun solo game here of managing cards. I think that's exactly great. And I think if that appeals to you, yes, fantastic, go for it. I also think that, like The Witcher, I think that you can find a lot of comparisons between how the Witcher's campaign is structured, about this innovative, wild journey that you're going to go on that actually isn't it at all, because you're dependent upon whatever symbols have come up, and that's going to choose the path of destiny. It's not going to create an amazing story. This, they're saying, oh, all of these mechanics go in, and yes, you can buy into that, and you can absolutely buy into that and have that inform your story and have it be an incredible, like, awesome experience, but you're the one who's buying into it. It's not going to be the game. It's going to be you. And if you can get behind that, that's great. And if facilitates that, that's great. I think these sorts of things make me so frustrated because the Kickstarter comes with a promise, right? They're promising you a thing. They're promising you a bill of goods. And it is so easy to promise something that is larger or more exciting than the actual experience. It is so easy. Marketing does it all the time. And if it delivers, that's when it's perfect, right? Because everybody was going to want you to have an amazing experience. For example, WSBG. I'll take my own ideas in marketing behind this. WSBG, I put together a video. I put together videos and stuff for them, and I work as hard as I friggin' possibly can to make it the best experience possible for everyone there. And I have no doubt that the Orange Nebula team works incredibly hard to make it that best experience. For some people, it will hit. For some other people, it won't. WSBG, well, WSBG is going to hit with everybody because, I'm behind it. But you have to be able to back it up with facts. You have to be able to back it up with actual core experiences and explaining what those experiences are. And if you give a wash of what that experience will be, because you are the story and you're going to define it in your own way, I know some people won't define it in that way, and I know some people will be disappointed. And I love that. I love that idea of stacking the remaining deck. I do. That you can, when you get things to level up, you can choose what sparks you put back into your deck. So it makes your deck stronger. It's a way of deck building. Or deck construction, that when your deck keeps on thinning out and you're reconstructing, you can put things back in that are powerful. Okay, so you're going to have one character and you're going to go through your deck and they're going to die and something's going to happen to them. You can reflect, and then you get to make another character who gets to take some other things, the wisdom that the person passed down, and you get to keep on going through the world over and over and over and over again. That's like a session. If you were able to complete the puzzles, then you can feel good about yourself. If you weren't able to complete the puzzles, well, that's okay. There's always another character. Probably part of this, for me personally, I don't think it would have enough of a conclusion every game. I mean, that's going to depend upon the different challenges that you face. It's all about combos. It's all about combos. I watched myself out of a fervor, and it's just all about a bunch of combos. It seems fine. Orange Nebula will likely have really good production quality. I like how they use their D4 dice. It's a much nicer D4 than anything else. It just, there might have been a time where this like suckered me in. And I think I've bought enough games at this point of campaign games, of promises, of ethereal quality stuff. I still got Aetherfields to play, so I don't need Spiritfire. That's what I think. As they run around their little mini-map, I can run around my little mini-map. Buy it. Oh, sorry. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, if you're interested in that, it finishes Tuesday, November 14th at 7 p.m. Let's finish off with Escape Room Tycoon. Test your strategy and build your entertainment empire in the strategic Euro game of escape room management. You've got my attention. So it's just kind of like a city builder, but you're building escape rooms. Do you want to play a game? No, that's not. I'm so glad Zoe got over her fear of flying. It's my favorite quote. If you don't know, go watch Escape Room, because it's a fantastic movie. Escape Room Tycoon is a medium-weight Euro game where you will design, build, and manage your own escape room venue. So make the most money. It has fun and strategic gameplay scenario where you feel as if you were in an escape room. So there you go. What is the absolute lowest price? 35! That is a nice price. 52 Canadian. That's great. Rulebook, yes. Give it to me. They're getting higher and higher here, and I have to think that it doesn't have anything to do with me at all. Taking me higher, higher. The object of the game is to collect more liking points than all the other players. These points are called popularity. Just call it popularity then. Yikes. During this phase, the first phase of the game, if you don't have a competence cube, you don't get to play the round. That's awful. You can use your cubes to take double actions if you spend a whole lot of them here. I'm a bit confused as to how this works, but it seems like it's sort of a cascading cubes. If more people take it, more people have to put more cubes in, even though all these people just put one cube in, so that doesn't make any sense with the example that they gave. But you can do a bunch of stuff like marketing, research, and additional services. So, the one that I'm interested in the most. It seems okay. The crux of the game is going to be figuring out how to invest the cubes in these 3 different areas. One of them will get you more money, basically. One place, which seems the most exciting, will allow you to build different rooms into your venue. Because, of course, a nice, good escape room facility has to have a number of different rooms. Shout out to Escape Games Canada in Toronto. If you've ever been, they're up at Downsview Station. Best production quality. There's also a really good one in Winnipeg, which I forget, but it was also great production quality. Gorilla something? That's not it. Kidnapping gorillas? No, that's not it. And then finally, the additional services area where you get to have a party. Also, the most cubes that you invest into it, you also get a bonus, which is fun. You're playing for that majority. You're going to want to get these trucks of people, these cars of people that you wrench from the side. There's going to be a number of different customers up for grabs at the beginning, and you steal them from their homes, and you force them into trucks, and then you send them into your escape room, and this is for sure not a scary game. And that's what they did to us in Kidnapping Gorillas, okay? That's all I had to say. It worked in Winnipeg. It should work here. Shipping is expensive, 15 to 19 to the US. Well, if it's 15, it's not, but you gotta predict the upper end, right? For me, I'm predicting 30, so then it's actually 65 euros, and that's more than I want to take a gamble on. They've done a bunch of print and plays. I'm just scrolling through these expansions, which I don't think you would ever need. They've done a bunch of print and plays. That's all that they're familiar with. So this is kind of their first main board game, but it's escape room themed. All of their print and plays were escape rooms. So I guess I should have said that first. Your players will stay in the escape room for a number of times. I don't know. The theme seems fun. It seems like a chaining things together type of Euro. Maybe if they'd made it more exciting like Spiritfire, I'd have more to say about it. I think it just seems fine. And so for shipping afterwards, there's nothing that really grabs me here mechanically that gets me all that excited. But, it's the last one of the week, and I also might be tired. Who knows? We really didn't have that many this week, and it still took me an extraordinarily long time. I wonder wonder why. But if you're interested in Escape Room Tycoon, that finishes Tuesday, November 14th at 8:58 p.m., I think it seems okay. The art seems fun, little meeple pieces. Like production quality, the proposed production quality seems nice. You're going to do 4 rounds of this. I don't know if it excites me all that much, though, to be honest. I wish I could tell you more. I just get a sense of not something being fully realized, maybe. I like the different customers. I like the different customers being able to do different things. Not quite clear how the trucks cart them off to their escape room right now. You can see the 2 different actions that you take, though, are on either side of the board, so the board layout actually makes a lot of sense. So at least there's that for sure. Anyway, if you're interested in that, like I said, November 14th, 8:58 p.m. That's it. That is it for the week. Now, every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you, the pick for me being the thing that I am the most interested in mechanically. And the pick for you being the thing that I think if you get, you won't be disappointed in. It won't be something that's going to give you a bill of false goods, some might say. I wonder what will be on these lists and what will be removed. I got no pick for you this week, but I got 2 pick for me's. Is that fair? I don't think these are like value picks. That's why I don't want to make it like a pick for you. But I do think they look interesting. So the first pick for me is Fall of Lumen. Fall of Lumen looks fun. I would absolutely try this one out. I think chaining everything together with the deck building seems exciting. Moving around, having the different spots reminds me of Lost Ruins of Arnak, which is high praise because it's done so well. I think that's great. My second pick for me is definitely my favorite things. String Railway. It seems fine, but it doesn't like really get me. I think my favorite things, it shows innovation, and I think it shows that you could do a lot, but again, the price for that just is too much for what it is. But I love it on a mechanics like standpoint. I love the feeling of the game that it puts forward. I think it's a really great take on that sort of party game genre while mixing it with some strategy that people can enjoy but won't take away from that party game feeling. It just feels like a real slam dunk and also too expensive. So number 1 pick for me, Fall of Lumen, because I think you're going to get more chonky game in there. And then my favorite things for sure, though, is definitely an honorable mention. I really wanted it to be Molly House, but I just don't see the gameplay and I gelling. But Molly House could be an honorable pick for you. John Company has scarred me too much. Really, it's all John Company's fault. Legitimately. If I'd never played John Company, probably would be the pick for you. But since I have, I can't do it. So that's it. Yeah, those are the picks. Let me know if you're backing anything or not. Let me know if you got really thrilled by that video with Spirit Fire, that hour-long video, that hour-long investment that they're making you do just to see if you can give them money. Let me know if that excited you. The comments seem very exciting. They're like, thank you, please. We wanted to give you our money. We just couldn't justify it. Now we finally can. You've given us something. So maybe you're one of those people. I don't know. But what I do know is that my name is Chris George. I don't even know that at this point, to be fair. And I'm supposed to say something here, but I don't have a catchphrase. One of these days I might get one. Who knows? Who knows? And one of these days, some game will take 0 profit and I'll still call it expensive. Probably have. Sorry I'm so cheap, but hey, somebody's got it. Oh no, that's too close. That's too close to a catchphrase. I gotta say something zany. Repress tiddlywinks. There we go. We're better.